Welcome to the show. Today we're going to talk about the monthly close on LivePerson and GameStop and the weekly close on LivePerson and GameStop. We'll also take a quick look at SPY because it gives us a great hint at where the overall market is going. And then, of course, where our individual stocks might go. So move that cup of tea and dive into the charts. We're going to start with LivePerson, and we're going to be looking at it on the weekly time frame, then going up to the monthly. A couple of indicators here. The main ones to look to: Rocky Outcrop Flash, Rocky Outcrop Toolkit. It does all the heavy lifting for you, and then we'll be using the MACD. That's the bottom off chart panel, and then the RSI, both Rocky Outcrop versions. So starting with the price chart, you can see that there's a number of important details here. Price is below the 50 simple, LivePerson weekly time frame, below the 200 period moving average, all below each other, negative slope, negative splay, and not particularly bullish posturing there. With regards to support and resistance, we can see these previous lows holding a trend line and almost recent touch. That makes 3. Price action broke down below an important support level to make that third touch, and when it did it, it gave us a touch to the top side of the bearish control zone, not back above the center line yet. So overall, you're looking at price below important levels of resistance, below important moving averages, speaking to a downward sloping negative trend, and nothing supporting the bullish posturing with regards to the RSI on the weekly. So tough situation on the weekly, though we knew it's been that way for a while on LivePerson monthly. Same situation with regards to a bearish RSI currently, and has been for a while now, since back around March 2022, the RSI has persisted within the bearish control zone. It has, though, now put in the third monthly close above its own signal line there on the RSI. And you've also got a positive situation on the histogram. There's not very much we can do with the MACD histogram and look back periods on this particular chart, other than to say that there has been some positive moves on price which have caused an expansion between the two moving averages that go into forming that histogram. That is to say that there has been an increase in volatility on the monthly time frame here since that most recent low. Topside volatility increasing, and we may see something similar coming over the next while. So nothing particularly positive to take from the RSI, a tiny touch of positivity on the MACD, but putting all of that in the context on price action, there's not all that much we can take from the monthly and the weekly with regards to direction, other than the trend which is in motion is very much a bearish trend, and price action has confirmed that to be true below important moving averages. Again, weekly time frame below the 50 simple. If you do break that 50 simple, then you might look to the 382, 50% golden pocket, and then the 200, which gives you 4 targets in at around 3, 5, 10, and 20. Sounds like a big deal, but that would also be a 1618 extension from the previous drop back down again. If we took this, cover the entirety of price action, you can see get up and test that golden pocket, it'd be in around a 1.13 extension. Get up to the dollar target, 200 period moving average at the 1.14. So if price is to break from here, it could go on a big move. Volatility to the top side could be really high, and even getting to that top side target, you wouldn't be really going and breaking this important resistance level on price action. If price does move to the top side, it'll be in search of resistance. The first place it'll find it is here in at around 355 on that weekly time frame, and then back above that, you'll be looking then in at around 20 bucks. That's why such a huge range and such huge potential on LivePerson. So that's the weekly and the monthly, looking at the posturing with regards to price and those moving averages, support and resistance, and then momentum using the RSI and the MACD. So if we go over to look at GameStop now, which is a lot of people very interested in this, there's important information to note. Starting off on the monthly time frame, price is trying to push above this 50 simple. You see that at $27 and let's call it 69 cents. In around that level, you find the 50 simple period moving average. Price action hasn't been there very regularly, to put it lightly. Go back to the, draw it on here for you. Support at that level is important. You've had this important rejection from it once previously. You found support at here on the breakdown, including important body closes. So that level that we've gone through there at 27.69, where you find the 50 simple period moving average, is potential support, and closing above that would be the first time price had done it during an uptrend in the last nearly 3 years. So huge significance if it manages to do it. The last time price pushed above it it got smacked down. A candle close that was up at around $48, closed at $22. A huge smack down. Now, we talked about this on the PP show. I covered it here live on the channel. And a lot of people were very grateful, other people less. So anyway, price action got smacked down below that 50 simple period moving average. Subsequent to that move, prior to that move, it had tested the 200 period moving average. That has not happened this time. So it went through that 50 simple, got smacked down, and is now testing it again. It's unlikely to confirm support above it on the first pass. This is the second one, slightly more likely this occasion, but it hasn't yet found support at the 200 in order to do that. So if it does go beyond the 50 simple, we might start targeting higher levels, and this pink horizontal ray is a good example of where price could go to. That body close on that important candle, which got a rejection, very open there, close down here. Important rejection at that level for price. So if that happens again, it'll only be when price confirms support above this 50 simple, then it could go quite fast. All of that though is very ambitious to look to from here, and you would say that the current picture on price based on this monthly time frame and that moving average is, does price manage to hold above there at close today at $27 and change? And as you can see, it's down 3.2% already, approaching 29.90, taking out important levels on open interest, which we're going to check for both stocks in a minute. So bear that in mind. The open interest nodes are very important, and today being Friday means that a lot of those contracts are going to close out today, either exercising, those in the money might find that to be an attractive option, but much more likely and much more commonly will be people selling those contracts, and there's an awful lot of contracts at that level. I'll just go and show you now actually. This is the weekly time frame where you're looking at open interest on GameStop. You can see the $30 node, 17,420 contracts. That's 1.7 million shares that will likely be exercised. Today is the last day that they can do it, otherwise it all expires worthless. So that's 1.7 million shares added to the markets today from this node alone. Then at 35, it's very unlikely that these contracts are being exercised, especially at current prices below 30, in which case there's another 1.3 million shares added to the market today. And then at $40, this is likely a strike that was bought to capture volatility, and so you would expect it to be sold. There's another 18,568, so that's 1.8 million. So between these three, you've got approximately 6 million shares hitting the market today. If you're looking at GameStop's daily volume, over the past 30 days, it's only traded 10 million on average across those 30 days. So you'll be adding more than half of the daily liquidity just on that open interest, plus you've got the normal daily liquidity anyway. So today, very important to pay attention to that open interest and how these represent selling pressure because of the time left in order to exercise and the fact that it's today, Friday. It's going to expire in a few hours. There's even less trading time today, so it's very, very likely that that adds to downside pressure on the charts, where GameStop trading at 24, not feeling it so far. So that's the open interest in the monthly, looking at important levels with the moving averages and support and resistance. Down to the weekly, you have a slightly more positive picture on the moving averages with the price pushing above a 200 and obviously above the 50 simple. Positive slope, positive splay, positive spread, price action pushing up important levels of resistance. You've got a golden pocket, price closing above 27.91 would be successful in that regard. It would be bad for everybody who's holding those option contracts, good for price on a slow burn level. Closing and holding the 200 period moving average on that weekly time frame, that's a good strong indicator. But again, it doesn't mean that price is necessarily going to go on longer. We'll look at the advance of price to these levels. We can see it got rejected from holding above the 200. Found support in around the 50 simple. Trying it again, not yet conquering that level despite pushing above it. The resistance is actually in at around $31, where we see these important nodes, candles closing and resistance. So you've got 1, 2, and I'll just borrow this guy to make the point again. We've actually got 3, and then looking here, there's probably a rejection, and that looks like it's the start of one again. So it could be 5 different touches on that level of resistance where price then retreated. And so in order for us to be extremely bullish about the short term on GameStop, we need to see prices pushing higher, and they're doing the opposite of that right now, down 3.9% so far. So very much risk on, very, very dangerous. People are excited online. That's positive. You know, it's great to see people excited about their investments and enthusiastic. But also, on the other hand, it can lead to a little bit of confusion to the new trader when they're adopting other people's opinions as their own or looking to sentiment analysis from a particular crowd who are most vocal about GameStop. And it's very, very dangerous. At these points in time, I'll often make a video about GameStop warning people about what's coming. And the majority of people hear it doesn't land well with them. They don't particularly appreciate hearing it. Those people who do and then act to manage their risk and then appreciate having heard the advice, they're the sort of people who turn up on the Rocky Outcrop Discord and get better and better traders over time. They don't regret their decisions. They don't fear missing out. They know price is in a continuum. It's not a one and done event. And they form the best group of traders that are currently tracking this ticker. And I include everybody you might mention on that. Wiki Wilkes, he's better than DFE at trading GameStop. The community at large on the Discord there take care of each other and make sure they all make money. So if you want to be part of that, it's free. You can join at www.discord.gg/rockyoutcrop. You can join the paid site and get even more information. We did a big write-up on GameStop this morning. So check it out, definitely in your interest if you're trading GameStop. Now back to LivePerson, and on the weekly time frame, we're going to take a little bit of a dip down to the daily here. It's up 3.73% today, very positive overall there. An incredibly important point of control on the chart since price went down here in at around 60 cents. You can call it a range from 55 to 65 cents. Big volume node, point of control, looking at the VPVR, that's the visible volume profile visible range. It's an indicator, also useful. Rocky Out would suggest you combine it with the daily VWAP. Anyway, you're looking at price action here on the daily, held below a 200 period moving average, slipped below a 50 simple across there, being tested at the minute, and nothing bullish about that. If price does pull back down again, got that golden pocket in at around 76 cents. If that doesn't hold, you'd be looking at around 60, right? Give or take 5 cents either side. And in advance of all of that, if prices hold 74 cents, then they'll rocket to the top side. 82 cents, very likely there's a test there. I'll just show you on a 15-minute time frame. Zoom in a little bit, Rocky Outcrop Flash. Now, this is the Rocky Outcrop Flash indicator. You get that as part of the paid side on Discord. It's well worth it. Pays the subscription fee as alone, right? So you can also see important volume node there at 82 cents on that 15-minute time frame. It could well be the price bounces if it gets to that level, but there's a very strong level of support, 89 cents. And there'll be buying activity across all of these nodes, all the way down there. An awful lot of interest in LivePerson. Now, part of the reason that we'll be looking at that on LivePerson right now is because there's an interesting dynamic forming on the chart. I'm well known across the world as a short squeeze trader and have a particular focus on stocks that retail are interested in. Now, if we were to look at LivePerson on the Discord on the paid side, I'll give you a little bit of a heads up on something I've been talking about recently. Let's see if I can this up. This guy, it is. So here's the LivePerson paid thread. There's an awful lot of information on this thing. Tons and tons and tons. Great traders. Short interest update right now. It's useful to track the short interest over time so that you get a good picture of what's going on and how these dynamics impact price for this particular ticker. A lot of information about how you find out that detail there. And it's also interesting if you combine all of the open interest that's in the money, right? These are outstanding contracts that have not yet been closed or covered. This open interest, not closed out value relative to the total outstanding shares can be interesting if you add it to the total outstanding short interest, because if price is to exceed certain levels, then that open interest is turned into in-the-money contracts, which would then need to be delivered if they're exercised. And an awful lot of people trading LivePerson are exercising these contracts, especially those that are already in the money. So you're looking to sell some, pay off the rest. And that's a considerable addition to the dynamic that causes such difficulty for short sellers. So if you're to look at LivePerson's strike price over a period of time and add up those various nodes, if it is that the share price exceeded certain strikes by certain expiries, it would be perfectly understandable to add that open interest to the short interest to look for potential dangers to the short side. And if it is that price manages to exceed $1.50, and it's been there not all that long ago, up at 179, then there would be 0.89% of the float added then. If you would have also gone through the $1 strike, which would add on 1.3% of the float, and you've already got 0.74% in the money. So you add up all of that together, and if price exceeds 150, then 12.28% of the total outstanding float needs to be delivered, including short interest and open interest to the long side, which is very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Right now, if that exceeds 13%, that total figure, shorts could be absolutely screwed. LivePerson is a tiny company. It would be very, very easy for all of us to get together and to buy as many contracts on the option chain that are currently in the money that would exceed the total share count available for this company. So if there's already approaching 13 needing to be delivered should price spike up, that means you only need to be buying a little bit. A lot of that is held by insiders. A good 20% of this is closely held and will never be traded. There's a significant amount of dynamic with regard to the employee compensation, which also adds to the short-term interest, open short interest with regards to employees managing their compensation. And so just the normal market dynamics alone, without even looking at heavily shorted stock, you would see that this thing relatively is very, very dangerous if you're shorting it. Not to mention the fact that if it did ever get to 54 cents, every cent move would be about 2% in price and totally wipe out anybody with a sensible risk management strategy. So if you're looking at this thing, you're probably contributing to that potential outcome. It definitely looked like it might happen because there's very low liquidity on LivePerson, a very low traded volume daily. If anything comes in to try and close the current outstanding short interest, that's 10% of the float. That's going to rocket up prices. And you can see already the huge volatility and range that's presented by the chart. So there is something absolutely ridiculously potential coming on LivePerson. We never looked at it exclusively as a short squeeze opportunity. It's just that that seems to be what's evolving now. And you go back to the chart, you see that test of that trend line down there. That represents really good support. Option chain is extremely expensive on LivePerson. You're going to have to consider the premium you're paying and then price exceeding the strike. Add those two together, strike your premium, and you'll get your break-even point. You obviously want to be above that. But there is the circumstances evolving where something could really, really explode here. And we talked about those big target. Looking at the weekly time frame, it's not completely crazy. You've got a gap here that would close in at around $3. That's a golden pocket from the most recent breakdown. If you look at it against the total breakdown, golden pocket here comes above another gap. And so jumps from these levels to the next, very, very possible. And there's 200 period moving average up at around $19-20. So absolutely massive potential on LivePerson. It's an incendiary situation. You just light it with a tiny touch paper, it could absolutely go. And that is a company which has gone down 90% from the highs. It's absolutely not in danger of going bankrupt. This is one of the problems that a lot of bears look at LivePerson, they see that it's associated with short squeeze traders. They know what I've done on GameStop, and there's a lot of elitists out there who hate me, right? You know, go and type in AI to tell you about GameStop. It'll start associating it with Scotland, despite the fact that the shop, that brand has never had a store here and it's closing everything in Europe. And that detail, that fact, that really yanks the chain and grinds the gears of the new continent elitists who disappointed in me delivering the truthful information and keeping the investor base safe in GameStop, because they want to take advantage of you. They paint themselves as elitists to make it look like they know more, but actually they're ignorant, and they're extremely offensive people who put lots of people off the idea of investing in GameStop because the community is so toxic. Now, those losers have existed since the start of this dynamic. They will never go away. They never make money. And they shouldn't be people you listen to, but they are very vocal. Now, if you were to take their objectives, to cause a short squeeze, to use market dynamics, to benefit that company they're invested in, then a much better circumstance and opportunity is LivePerson. They also hate me saying that, but it's very true. Now, LivePerson at the minute is not in danger of going bankrupt, right? The elitists that come along and pretend to be bears on LivePerson to impact your thoughts, and that very often they're just ignorant GME investors who I've previously embarrassed, and you'll see them regularly. So what you want to focus on then is that narrative about the company going bankrupt true? Well, no, it isn't, because they turn a profit. The only danger to LivePerson is potential debt situation. It's not actually a reality yet. It could evolve in future. Half of that debt has already been pushed back. The rest of it can be easily managed. The enterprise value of the company exceeds their debt position. You wouldn't need to worry too much about that because they've recently replaced the board. They've got an activist investment fund who are now installing really dynamic, energetic, ruthless board members in Dan Fletcher, who's going to come in and absolutely shake costs up. He's going to make a big difference to the company. Great to see you, Dan. Welcome to the team. And we're going to put a lot of emphasis on that new leadership team going forward because they've managed to completely revamp the strategy of the business. The new CEO, he's called John Sabino. He's probably the best CEO in the world right now. He's a turnaround junkie. He hates being talked about as a superstar CEO. He has an incredibly strong, disciplined background, an amazing record of success. He took VMware to an exit recently. The whole VMware board are now coming on top of LivePerson, try to improve the company. Part of the reason for that is because those activist funds who invested in VMware are also backing LivePerson along with Vector Capital. And it's very rare you find the opportunity of a ticker at these lows offering such deep value with the market dynamics that could just like a touch paper on a thing could explode all at the same time with such a brilliant board. Yet the market has not understood that this company is in a turnaround phase, which it 100% definitely is. They're shedding legacy customers who didn't contribute to core revenues. They don't need that crap. They get rid of that. They reduce the cost basis associated with those sales. They become more efficient, leaner, and they've got better metrics. When the revenue from those legacy customers drops off and the new customers coming on start building up that bottom line, you're going to see positive trends in the revenue that match all the component cost basis in that particular revenue stream for the business. It's going to make it really efficient. It's going to make it so that the whole market recognizes what's going on with LivePerson. There'll be a huge boost in price at that moment. And if you want to be in advance of it, you have to be able to spot the dynamics that make it so the circumstances are favorable to you as a trader. They allow you to manage risk. Two ways you do it when you're trading LivePerson are with stop losses, but you're going to have to be very careful about where you do it, which means you're going to need to be very careful and disciplined on your timing. And then position size management, which is a continuum of risk management. And using that, you'll be able to add to your position during an uptrend without spending too much time underwater. These are all opportunities and avenues for approaching LivePerson so that you can start accumulating and building a position there, which is why I brought this opportunity to the audience. I did it before with Carvana, I did it with Root, I did it with Rolls-Royce, I did it with Bed Bath & Beyond. I've done it countless times with GameStop. I do it with SPY. I bring these opportunities to people so that my community and my audience can level up, get better, and we can actually make an impact on the markets. So when you see other people pretend that those stocks you just heard were their calls, you know that they watch my show and they don't have the integrity to say it afterwards. They're losers. They go to sleep in their quiet moments. They think about themselves and they've no idea what their true identity is because most of their personality has been consumed by trying to be me. You can join the team and be yourself because I'm already taken and you're welcome. Join the Tradespotting channel, join the Rock Discord. You'll be with like-minded individuals who want to help you and help themselves. And that's the great culture I have in a trading community. If there's anything you'd like to know about Live or GameStop, I'm your man. Hit the like button. It's appreciated and it helps me with the algorithm. Subscribe and I'll know you really appreciate this show and you want to be here. It doesn't help the algorithm. So all it really is you saying thanks. And I would say you're welcome. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Let's do this.